It's 1991. Birds and people are living together in seemingly perfect harmony. Until one day, a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix.
In the sky, gazing far into the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
Like 21, I think.
Welcome to the OC Sim Series, 12 hours of Bathurst qualifying session. My name is Dan No Skill, and joining me today is Luca Centorbi, and we're about to take you through our next, well, we've got an hour, we've got 20 minutes of practice roughly left to go, and then we'll have our full qualifying session. Luca, are you looking forward to it?
Oh yes, I can't wait on this really crazy Australian track on a hill. I can't wait for qualifying, as the track is gonna be fun to drive around, and we're gonna see just how everyone manages to handle their way through these tight twisting corners.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be exciting. Of course, Bathurst famous for its tight, twisty hill sections. It's downhill sections where incidents often happen. But we've also got our cars today from one of our sponsors, RSS. So, Captain, would you like to take us through the cars we'll be using during this next 30 minutes of qualifying?
So, it starts with the Acura NSX GT3 Evo 22, then we have the Mercedes AMG GT3 Evo. Obviously also we got the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo 2, and to end it all up we also got the Lexus RCF GT3. No worries, if we have enough teams racing with the other cars that I've just listed.
We have got a great selection of cars here today, and they're certainly going to be close. You may have seen on the graphics earlier, qualifying lap times looking to be around the 2 minutes to the 2 minutes 2 mark. And would you also like to explain the 104% rule that we've got in place today?
So today in qualifying we'll be running a special 104% rule if pole position today will be, let's say, a 2-minute 1 lap. The 104% rule means that if you are under the 2 minute 5 seconds lap time, you cannot qualify for the race.
Exactly, so these drivers are going to have to put in some good laps if they want a chance at being on pole position today. And we're ready to take you out onto the track here at the OC Sim Series. Alright, so currently on board with the over-the-limit car. They are currently second on the practice server with a 2-minute 03, but we expect those times to drop, don't we, Luca? So it's going to be a really exciting first session here, as all of the drivers look to get their best lap times in as quick as possible.
Yeah, I've heard already from drivers that they're having some complications with this track just being so bumpy and everything. With the fastest lap time, I believe, even being under the 2-minute lap time, with a 1:59. So, talking about the 104% rule, we're gonna see how close the grid will get compared to the rest of the drivers. And just with all the different cars as well, each car can handle the track differently. So, also gonna see which car handles this ginormous, difficult Bathurst track.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a difficult drive for them today. We're just having the server change up just a little bit, a couple changes on there just to make sure everything is working properly. So apologies for any delays seeing some cars out on track, but we will be watching some of these guys take their outlaps around this twisty track and see if they can get used to it. Top speed around here expected to be around 180 miles an hour, which is very fast when you watch just how tight these corners are around Bathurst. It's going to be a really tough one. And I'm genuinely super excited to see who will be out on top. I know we've got a lot of talented drivers on the grid here today, so it's going to be a close qualifying session with these guys really pushing.
Yeah, I've heard that already in the pre-qualifying session that the pole position has just been traded like a piece of gum. We're just gonna see who manages to get that clean lap time today, as obviously now it's just a one session, as pre-qualifying was a few days long, and now you only have half an hour to bring together the lap that you need. and obviously the pressure getting to your head, and sometimes if you can't complete your lap, that's also something we gotta watch out for, as you can't really risk not doing a lap, but also not risk not going too slowly. So we gotta see who manages to handle it the best and get that pole position today.
And here you can see some cars out on track then. Let's go on board with the Apex 1 team, who are currently on an outlap, just scouting during the 12 minutes left we've got of practice. And you can see the track is looking brilliant as we head into the evening time, just like many of you guys all around Europe will be doing literally right now. So you can see this is the hardest section of the track, this heavy downhill braking zone, and if you can nail this, it's where you're going to be able to find the most lap time for sure, as these guys swing it round. The tight left-hander there, very tricky one, but you can see the camber of the corner, it does help bring the cars round, and then it's the long back straight, a massive run down towards the sharp right-hander at the end there. You can see the cars appear over the top of the hill and fly down. Apex 1 reaching those top speeds, like we said, of 280 kilometers an hour, flat out through there and into the heavy braking zone as quick as possible. We've seen these guys be good across various other racing leagues, haven't we, Captain? So, what are you looking forward to today?
Well, I'm looking forward for the downhill section that you said with turn 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, which is just a series of corners, the notorious downhill left right, where if you don't nail the line, the next thing you'll see is all your car being upside down or facing the wrong way, which the cars barely fit too wide. They even just a single file there. That's something I'm excited to see how fast in qualifying today they'll take that section, but also how they shoot themselves out of turn 18, the hairpin at the end of the downhill section. How they can just shoot out there like a rocket. But also can't forget this uphill section, which is a bit more lenient compared to the second half of this uphill of this hill section, but I want to see just how close the drivers will get their car to the wall, if there even will be a gap, as if you drive the next thing you see is this gap just going tighter and tighter until there is no more gap.
Yeah, it's going to definitely be a tough qualifying session for a lot of these guys, and they're going to be pushing each other to go as fast as possible. So you've got to make sure not only you set a valid lap time, but you also set one within that 100% rule, like you said, so you can actually qualify yourself for the race.
Your lap time getting deleted as well if you just tap the wall, as track limit is not a big role going on the hill, as your car won't fit between the white line and the wall. So a small tap to the barrier, if it's hard enough, will delete your lap time. So we're gonna see when a small tap happens if the drivers continue their lap or abandon the lap.
100%, it's going to be a close qualifying session. I think that we've got plenty of drivers here capable of being on pole today, and it's going to really show. We've got currently our fastest time is a 2:27. We expect those to drop as the laps go on. We've seen these guys really pushing each other over the past couple weeks, haven't they? They've been practicing. Why don't you take us through some of that?
Well, in the past couple weeks, I've been talking with a few drivers. They all have gotten issues with, I believe, the Lamborghini getting recently a bob change. I heard that the Lamborghini was really fast, basically on rails. A lot of drivers getting used to that until, I believe, 1 week ago. Right before this event, came another bob. So we're gonna see how the drivers today will handle the difference in the car. I believe there's also open setup, so everyone can choose the right height and just the aero settings of their liking. Obviously up the hill, that not being a fact, you gotta think about is going up the hill that the air gets thinner, so you gotta also think about the aero settings. We gotta what I also heard is that up the hill the grip level is just getting less than when being down the hill. For example, the final sector, turn 21, 22 and 23, which are the final 3 corners, the car grips a lot better than when you're up the hill. Going for turn 10, which we're gonna see the team Cool Racing come up now, is they're now going through turn 6, 7 and 8, but turn 10 being the corner with the biggest lenient up the hill, with the big runoff area. So yeah, the grip levels up there not being the same as down here, down the hill.
Yeah, definitely going to be tough for the drivers to basically acclimatize to those changes in grips. You can see there for the race tomorrow, blasted on the build-up board, so none of the drivers forget, 6 mandatory long stop. So all these drivers going to have to stop in the pit lane for a good 3 minutes, changing drivers or just fueling up. And then they can go back out, and that will be during the full race. So getting yourself that advantage in qualifying can help you get clean off the line, and it can really be, well, make or break for some drivers, can't it?
Yeah, I mean, pit stop strategy is obviously playing a huge role. 6 long stops in 12 hours, I believe. If planning goes right, that's a 2-hour stint per driver. Some teams having up to 4 drivers per car. Some teams I've heard also driving only 2 drivers per car. So we gotta see how they implement their long stops. As we said, 3 minutes. We gotta obviously don't really have to change the tires if you just go for a refuel. Obviously it pays off if you go for a tire change in that long stop. That doesn't mean that short stops will happen. Between a driver stint, we can always see just a 20 to 30 second pit stop of each driver, so we gotta watch out for that as well.
We got the Lifeless Racing team here, coming across the line and moving themselves into 3rd in practice before they head back to the pits. And you can see just how these guys starting to acclimatize to the track, aren't they? They're starting to warm themselves up, and you're going to want to build confidence around here because you've got to push the car close to the wall like Auto Club are doing there. Wow, that was very close indeed. Because you need that confidence to find that lap time, and you're going to have to be doing that for 12 hours on end as we start to see a few different times from teams come up now. We expect roughly the cutoff time to be around the 2:04, so teams with a 2:05, if it comes to qualifying, they are going to need to find just a little bit more pace.
Well, obviously there's the 104% rule now being implemented here for qualifying. You're gonna see where you can push the more. I've seen drivers saying that turn 1, we believe turn 1 just being a simple 90 degrees corner, being one of the more difficult corners on this track just because of that high curb. So just where you want to push, you got to be careful where you also push, as some corners are more lenient towards taking an alternative line. If you say, let's say here the Acura or the Lexus saying, I have more grip on the corner exit, so take an alternative line for a faster corner exit. Some corners let you do that, some corners are specifically only allowed to take one line. For example, the notorious turn 4, which is a cambered uphill left-hander, where there is only one line available to take, as any other line with all the marbles on the outside and just the camber, the nature of cambered corners themselves. So you gotta be careful where you choose to go faster, where you choose to be more laid back. Some drivers obviously pushing the hardest for a 2:01 lap time or even lower, but some drivers just saying, I want to keep it in one piece and to drive it for the entire lap and going for a slower lap time, which, as we said, gotta watch out for that they stay in that 104%.
And you mentioned turn 4 there. It's notable as it's the one marked with all of the RSS billboards. It is nicknamed this weekend the RSS Corner. So keep your eye out for that one because it's a tight, twisty uphill left-hander. And it's going to provide our drivers with some tricky maneuvers to make, isn't it? It's going to be a tough one for them to navigate. So it'll definitely provide us with that exciting racing we're looking for. And speaking of exciting racing, we've got two teams here just running quite close to each other as Lifeless Racing look to maybe back off a little bit before they start a fast lap. 4th and 5th, these two, so we know they're close on pace.
Yeah, a strategy that we might see today in qualifying is just cars running close to each other. As with these long straights, these long straights, both drivers there making a mistake. Long straights, you want to maximize on that slipstream effect. We heard that 280 km/h is around the fastest as GT3's cars can go, but if you get that advantage on that straight line speed, in that final sector, the Conrad straight is so long that any advantage on speed will gain you those precious temps that you really want.
It certainly will, and you're going to need tyre temperature because you're going to need a lot of grip. And we're talking about some of the long straights, the long back straight, of course, going to lose you temps, but it's got a fast corner in it, which is going to heat them up, like you mentioned. So, we've got the number 232 car here, currently in 10th in practice. Not that practice means absolutely anything to these guys. Taking us through RSS corner there, that uphill left-hander. And I expect as well in qualifying to see some drivers push it, as one of our teams is called, over the limit. Which is going to be, you know, it's going to be interesting. There will be incidents and there will be a lot of moments in the race too, where drivers are just going to have to back off and look for their consistency, not just speed. So even though speed matters today in qualifying, consistency is going to be what's crucial. Crash Test Dummies taking us through the downhill section now as well. The father and two sons team.
Yeah, as you said before, consistency is of important, as I've heard people say consistency is half the battle. In these long races, in a 12-hour race, consistency is more than just half the battle, as you can be fast, but let's say you lose more time just scraping the walls, having to pit for that damage repair every time. I believe if you are like a few seconds slower per lap, you gain more time just being consistent. As for 12 hours fully, we will. It's not ruled out that we might see mistakes happening. That notorious Pen, for example, this fast left-hander. If you just mess up the turn-in, you'll see your car on the ground, and with a messed up line out like that, going into the S's, with your car already sliding, you want already all the grip. If you slide already through those corners, the best thing you can do is just be a passenger and hope that not too much damage can happens to your car.
And checkered flag is out for practice, which means the next session we're going to head into will be qualifying, which is going to be very exciting. I mean, I'm certainly looking forward to the qualifying session here today. It's going to be a fast one, isn't it? We've got a lot of talented drivers on the grid, a lot of teams who have been here before and taken part in the previous OC Sim Series events. So they'll all know each other well. There's healthy rivalries going on. Our previous winners, DC Racing, not able to make it, but we know that Tong and Lasse will be taking part. Two of their previous race-winning drivers who are on that team as a duo, I believe under the Lopen team this time.
Yes, Tong and Lasse are driving for that Lopen Esports 699 team, as I believe they're up in pole position with that 669 number. I believe that's wrong for now, but you talking about Lasse and Tong. They showed us now in practice here that they have what it takes to be up there, but obviously over Apex One, the 61 car, gotta watch out for them as well, as we've got a few teams trading position, as Lopen Esports but also Apex 1 and all over the limit, trading that P1. I'm really excited to see just who takes that up spot, as we might obviously drivers say the starting position is not what really makes out the race, but you want to have a great starting position, that you have that clean up ahead, as with 20 cars going up the hill. Following that closely, you gotta fight more than just the dirty air.
Yeah, you are completely right about how close this is going to be and about how tough this track is. It is not to be underestimated in Bathurst. So, we have currently got the Lopen Esports team of Tong and Lasse on the top spot of Practice 1, but we're about to head in to what matters most, which is our qualifying session. This highly elevated track here at Bathurst is going to be fast, it's going to be dangerous, and these guys are going to be pushing to the absolute limit. So stick around, because in about 30 seconds, you're going to see your first of these cars out on track. It's going to be very exciting. And personally, I'm looking forward to see who can come out on top and who's going to get eliminated from the competition. With the 107% rule, Captain, just take us through, the 104% rule, just take us through how that works again for anyone who's just tuning in now.
The 104% rule works as if pole position will be a 201, a clean 201. The 104% rule meaning that you add 4% to that time. That's gonna be a 205.6, I believe that is. So if you're gonna be slower than a 205.6 while pole position is a 15, you will not qualify for the race, and obviously in races like these you want to qualify and have that chance to get the race, as 12 hours, anything can happen. If you start from the back, as long as you're in, you might still get a great result, if we know about consistency. Not pace fully, but if you have the consistency, you might still get a good good position, end position here.
You certainly will, as the cars are about to go out on track here. For qualifying, they're all lined up at the end of the pit lane. When the flag goes green, they'll be able to go out. We've got crash test dummies going to be taking us on a flying lap to begin with, and here they go. They're outside on the track, pulling out. A couple cars already going around the circuit at the moment. We'll see who's going to be on pole position today.
Yeah, I believe the drivers are not allowed to drive out yet, as the red flag, the light is still red. But a few drivers already being out. As for qualifying, you want to have that clean air up ahead. Some drivers going out at the same time, I believe, trying to nab a bit of slipstream from each other. Gotta see who gets that the greatest slipstream effect out on this track, but obviously following your car that closely, then going up the hill, you have to find a way to still have full pace advantage without having the downside of the dirty air from the car up ahead.
Yeah, you've got to find yourself a good position to get yourself out on this track here today, and it's going to be really, I think there's going to be some good lap times, and it's also going to be down to, like you said, qualifying strategy. Really important here, especially around a tight track where you're not going to be able to overtake easily, even in qualifying. If there's blue flags, it will compromise your lap, so getting yourself that clean air going to be crucial to putting in some fast laps. And we should start to see times coming through here in a second. It is a long lap here at Bathurst. Like we said, a 2-minute lap time, and oh no, that's just what can go wrong, isn't it? Really unfortunate there from Crash Test Dummies. We're hoping a couple drivers start to pop in a few times now, so we can start having a look.
Yeah, but lap times here, 2:01 minute lap times. So we gotta see if the time stays that way, as also the track temperatures play a huge role now here in qualifying, as between the sessions you practice with one temperature, but qualifying, obviously we've read, if these drivers have read in the rulebook that it said that the temperatures will get better over time, so starting out, we might see some lap times, but near the end, the track temperatures and track conditions will get better, get green, as you might say, and the lap times dropping significantly.
Yeah, ideally we're going to see those lap times begin to drop as drivers start to find the limit of the track, start to push themselves. They're all probably just out there completing outlaps now. We've seen a couple incidents flagged up on our systems and our radars that we've got as people do just push over the limit, even on those outlaps, as they try and get themselves hooked up and confident around this circuit today.
Yeah, you gotta think just how much you want to warm up the tires on your out lap, as on your in lap with all that pushing that you do through those twisty corners, you might overheat the fronts, you might have less temperatures in the rear, which thinking about it might help you get the car rotated, but you just gotta push it in your out lap if it even matters, as sometimes as I said about the qualifying strategies, you just want to push to stay a bit into the car up ahead to get the positive slipstream effect without getting that negative dirty air effect. Obviously if you are fast in the car up ahead, you must also consider if you want to abandon your lap, as you only have half an hour, not a lot compared to what we have for the race tomorrow. Gotta think what you can.
Yes, it's definitely. Let's take you on a first little flying lap around here with the crash test dummies. No one yet to set a time. So they've gone through turn 1. Now we head into turn 2 after the first of not the longest straight we've got here, not the final back stretch that Captain was going on about, the Conrod straight. Then into turn 4, RSS corner. You see they hook it up close to the wall there. We'll see if they're going to be the first ones to be able to set a valid lap time. Then into this twisty uphill section under the Barb's modding sign before we head into the downhill. And this is the part that drivers love. Fast left-hander there. Keep it hooked up. Try not to tap the wall like they did. Another long left-hander before you head towards the twisty section. And you're going to have to get hard on the brakes for this part. Avoid the grass because that will be a cut. And then it's hooking that car in there. It's very difficult to get this bit right and maintain your speed. It's where a lot of lap time can be gained and lost through these fast but slow corners. Cambered left-hander now, a bit of a hairpin before you head onto that long Conrod straight. You've got your foot flat to the floor for this part, and you can see these guys absolutely pushing the limits of the car right now. We're starting to get our first times through. Apex 1 setting times and OC Esports. Here come crash test dummies about to come hopefully across the line here. You've got a flat out right-hander. Now you want to avoid the curbs through these final parts of the track because they can unsettle the car very easily. If you're pushing, you might be able to tickle them a little bit. You can see there crash test dummies making sure to leave a bit of width to the track limits before they round the final corner, a 90-degree corner, and then they're across the line. Where will they finish? Ooh, it's not quite pole position for them. 10th at the moment with a 2:03. The number 61 car of Apex 1 currently on provisional pole.
We already see the lap times going for the 2:01.0. As I said before, the track conditions gonna improve as qualifying goes on. So that 104% rule we are already seeing 12 places, I believe, already outside of that if Apex 1 manages to just improve by a few temps. And just seeing that 12 is out of it, we're gonna see how far behind the rest of the grid is, as I believe we have about 20 cars out on track. So yeah, it's interesting to see what the drivers can put out together today.
You can see how traffic is beginning to affect some of these guys as well. It's getting awfully tight out there and very close. On board with the number 12 car, the Lifeless Racing team. They're currently in 7th with a 2:02.4 as we get our first lap time into the 2-minute flats with Apex 1 putting in a fantastic 2:07. The number 61 car there. Let's see what Lifeless can do as they round the final corner. It doesn't necessarily look like they may be improving. It could be an outlap, this one, but we'll see what they can do later on in the session. One team who is going fast is the Apex 1 Keisha Esports team, the number 7 car. And look at that bright yellow livery. They are absolutely flying. Purple in the middle sector. We'll see if they can do anything. Top are leaders as Lasse and Tong put themselves into 2nd place. They won't be happy with that if they were on P1 in practice, but they could also definitely be contenders for pole here today. So could these guys, the Polish racing teams. Let's see what they got. Oh, it's an improvement, but they stay 3rd for now. Just not quite improved in that middle sector. Lopen is flying at the moment, though. Let's see what they can do through Sector 1.
Yeah, we got these cars obviously very different built all together with the different manufacturers. We're gonna see just which one grips up the most in one section, but also has the best straight line speed in another section. Interesting to see just what these drivers like for their own driving style, with the different capabilities of these cars. Some cars obviously going for more of a safer altogether setup that the Mercedes car has. The Mercedes car having, I've heard from those being the more understeery of these cars. So if you want more of a planted car, the Mercedes car is more for you. But Lopen Esports going for the more aggressive Lamborghini. I've heard drivers say that this Lamborghini sort of rear end as an unstable rear end. So through those S's, we gotta see just how much they're gonna play with that accelerator. Obviously, these cars running traction control, so you can put your gas down to 100% as soon as the car allows you to, which is sooner than you might expect. As we saw Lopen, they're going through turn 21 and 22, how fast they just accelerate to 100%, and now they're going front the final corner. We already see cars going right under the 201s, as Lopen shows us, with a 2 minutes lap time, 0.764. So a lot of drivers already being outside that 104% rule.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask you, actually, who is currently going to be knocked out? Also, talking about the cars, the Lamborghini seeming like the faster car here today, as we've got the top 4 all in the Lamborghini. Number 5, the 45 car, they're currently using the Acura, and then further down in 7th is our first Mercedes. So looks like definitely the faster car at the moment. The one the teams are choosing to go with is the Lamborghini. Speaking of teams that you'll want to see on track, this is the 57 OC Esports car, repping that awesome Shark livery. They've got some great drivers in their team here today. They're going to be fast for sure. Currently a 2:01.4 though. They've got to find about half a second, if not a little more, if they want a chance at pole position today. But starting 4th for OC Esports, who've come so close to winning these events the past couple times. They're going to want a good result here this weekend. It's going to be tough for them with the competition though.
Driving for OC Esports, interesting to see, we got Picha Yutsumarurat, a Thai esports driver who has a sponsor on his name, Luca Andretta, a Swiss sim driver who started last year, and Sebastian Duran, a Mexican sim driver, and obviously Milan Ealing, Dutch sim driver, who's also a bit of an influence on this livery, which is a
just sorry to interrupt, but
that
that lap from them was mega. They dropped themselves within a 10th of pole position into 2nd place. That is absolutely mega from those guys, as the 43 Apex 1 car also moves themselves up into 3rd with a 2:01.0. So getting closer and closer these lap times now. Things are really heating up for qualifying here today.
Yeah, I believe now with the 104% rule, P19, everyone below P19 will not be able to qualify, so they're gonna find a few temps here, with the 09 car, having to find the number 9, I believe, LYS Performance SRT, gonna have to find a few seconds in that lap. If they manage to do that, they're safe to race for tomorrow's race.
So gonna have to find a little bit more lap time then, like you said, otherwise you are eliminated from the race weekend. Guys who are trying to find a little bit of lap time is our car currently in 4th, the 43 Apex 1 car. They're going, I mean, look at them, they're absolutely flying. The confidence in this Mercedes is insane. They've just moved themselves into 4th, and let's see how aggressive they are through this middle sector where they did go purple on the last lap. Possibly a bit of contact with the wall there, but that's not going to slow them down, and you can get away with a touch into the wall if you're lucky in these cars, but you're not going to want to do that too much over the full 12 hours. They're about to head down the oh, and they've pulled off. They abandoned the lap. They were going really quick, but clearly not quick enough for those guys. Let's see what Lopen can do.
Yeah, with these cars, these GT3 cars being a bit rigid enough for a wall tap, let's just see, being strong enough to just hit that, those walls, just have a bit of a ping-pong effect, you might say, of getting as close as ever. You might see the front just bumping there to get the car turned in more than you want. Obviously, as you said, you can't do that too often, else your car might face too much damage and your lap time is in the trash.
And that's the last thing you want, is your lap time in the trash. The number 14 car, the 71, they are currently going green through their sectors at the moment, through sector 1 as they head down the back straight. Let's see if they've been able to improve. They don't want to be starting 14th for the race. Of course, endurance racing, it does allow for positions to be made up, but you're risking the drop zone with a 2 minute 4 seconds. So they're going to look to get a little bit faster. They've gone green through both sectors. It's looking like it's going to be a reasonably fast lap from Arachnid Racing. Spider fans not going to be impressed with them, and they move themselves up into 13th with a 2:03.4. Great lap from them, the number 17 car. Unfortunately pushed straight back down again as other drivers ahead improve.
I believe there's also the car of OC Esports up in P2 having a bit of a up on that delta, going fast in sector 1, better in sector 1. They ride 3 tenths faster, so those 300s, I'm sorry, those 300s. Oh, as those with a 2 minute lap time, 0.66. That's already more than OC Esports is gaining on this lap, so if they want to do anything, they have to now put it together in this final sector. They're gonna have to find 2 tenths somewhere around here, as they found only half a tenth in sector 1 and 2, so let's see what they can bring across the board here.
Well, Apex 1 were down in both Sector 1 and 2. It was their last sector that they improved on, and OC Esports takes provisional pole 15 minutes into this session. What a lap from them. Well done. These guys dropping the pole time to that 2 minute 5 we thought was going to be our fastest ones we've seen. Don't write this car off either, the number 7 car. They're still going fast, and don't write the number 5 car off too. They've just gone green in Sector 1. We're about to see what their Sector 2 time would have been. It was a bit slower. They should be about a tenth up on their delta though, which could push them into the top 4. Let's see what the 669 car can do as they round the final couple corners, missing those deadly curves through that final little chicane before the 90-degree left-hander. What's it going to be? Is it going to be enough to push them into the top 4? Can they find the time? They see the clock ticking. It's a short run to the line, and they move into 3rd. Lopen, well done. What a lap from them there. Wow, that was exciting couple seconds of qualifying.
I'm starting to see that the times in the final sector are starting to drop. I believe the temperatures down there, getting in that window where you want the tires to grip the most. So we're gonna see a lot of cars gonna improve there. As, the Lifeless Racing team also up down P9, about even a second up on their time, with a green sector 2. As no! The commentator's curse hitting them, going around the final corner, touching a bit of grass and spinning it round. They were up 1 second on that delta as well.
Here's a car we're familiar with, the Over the Limit Racing crew. We, of course, commentate over their races whenever they have them. They're currently running in P10, but they have gone faster through Sector 1. Just want to point out that the Lopen esports team, their car, it was purple in Sector 3, so there's more time to be found through that final sector, and it seems to be where everyone's improving at the moment as they get more confident through the final chicane and through the final left-hander. So, let's see if Over the Limit can improve. They're looking reasonably fast. Bit slower through Sector 2. Still up on their delta, though. Will be able to make it any further into that top 10. They're about to round the final chicane. Hard on the brakes. You can see how they get on the throttle and stab at it as they try and round that final right-hander. And then into the last left-hander, 90-degree corner. Always tricky because you slow right down, but it means there's time to be found there. Riding the curb on exit, using quite a lot. And it's an improvement, but oh, just missing out by 100th on 9th place.
I believe the number 4 Keisha esports car, the number 7, is up there. They're up on pace, going green in Sector 1 with a 40-second lap time. But getting rid of traffic there in Sector 2, only not improving there, but I believe they're still quite a bit up on their delta. If they keep this lap up, they might get the car up on that P3 position, which, I said it before, a position at the start is not really the most important thing for the race tomorrow, but the further you're up ahead, the less traffic you have, the more free air you have to fight. As they're now running the final corner, getting a bit of too much curb down in the grass. As they improve. And what have we talked about there exactly? They improved in the final sector and getting that car up to P3. Obviously, the most tricky corners, I've said, being turn 1. And also the final corner. Corners obviously want them to open up, but when they're 90 degrees, they never open up. You want your car to just bite at the end of that corner to still have all that speed. And if you manage to get all the ticks boxes correctly, you get your lap time up there on the board.
Well, speaking of a lap time on the board, let's see how Lopen can respond to the number 7 car, pipping them for position. These two very close on pace. You can see it is literally 3,000ths of a second separating these two teams. Barely anything. So if the 669 car can just find a bit of pace, they'll be able to top the number 7 car and take P3. It's very close between all of these teams, and we're keeping an eye on our top teams as well, because Apex One and OC Esports both out 4 laps trying to improve too. We've got 10 minutes left of qualifying here at Bathurst. It's going to be an exciting race tomorrow if all these guys are as close as they look right now. Some crashes happening through Sector 1, but it's not going to affect the Lopen team, who have it so hooked up through that downhill section. Look at them as they come into this cambered hairpin at the bottom of the hill before you get onto the Conrod Straight. They're going to be absolutely flying down here. You don't even feel the corner in that car. This isn't a multi-class race. This is all GT3s trying their best to get themselves as high up as possible on the grid. Over the crest on the Conrod Straight, heading towards the corner. You've got a flat-out right-hander here that the teams don't even think about, and then it's into the left-hander, dodging those bouncy curbs. They're not going to want to spin because they're on a flying lap. So are Apex One, who've just gone purple in Sector 1. It could be pole position for the 61 car too, but let's see where Lopen finish off. Have they improved across the line? And they just can't. Apex One, though, they're about to round the final corner here. Let's see if they can improve and take pole position away from OC Esports. They're across the line, and it's pole by 300ths of a second. Wow, that is barely anything. What a lap from Apex One.
I've seen the delta of Apex One going after the twisty downhill section, going half a second up. So that scares me, thinking that there's still half a second up on that lap time, with Apex One obviously right now topping the leaderboards and still showing us that there is still pace to go to get out here, with just 300 separating the top 2 and only 3/10 separating the top 4. No one is outside of the 104% rule. Ooh, bit squirmy there through turn 9. If no one's out of the 104% rule, so everyone who is driving right now is qualifying for the race tomorrow, with only 7 minutes to go. The sun setting as well, so visibility starting to become a slight issue. Obviously, as a racing driver, you start making, you put a few markers on track for your braking points. I myself take, for example, shadows for something, but when the sun sets, shadows move, but your braking points stay the same, so you gotta adapt to that as well, which it looks like everyone is handling it perfectly, as I believe that's all that was the the Inista racing team going P7 there. No, the Apex 1 drifting team going P6 there with a better lap time. Great to see that the driver is still showing us that improvements can happen while the track and the visibility changes.
Yeah, certainly as we head into the night, going to be more difficult to try and get to the top of that leaderboard. But I can tell you now that OC Esports and Apex 1 will both be attempting that. The number 75 car was improving on that lap, but stays 7th for now. We saw the Apex 1 Racing Potatoes. They were on a fast lap, but then ended up abandoning. But the Apex 1 drifting team just about able to improve on their last lap into 6th place. So a lot of these top teams really pushing themselves to get further up this grid. Crash Test Dummies running down currently in 15th. They said last time they had more pace in them and just suffered from a poor qualifying and a pit lane start. So this time they're looking to redeem themselves. We'll see what they can do.
Yeah, I mean, the timer now, we're getting in the final 5 minutes of this qualifying session. The track condition now being the best it can ever be. So if you want to put out a lap, now is your chance. Now is everything. If you play your cards correctly, all the aces up your sleeve, put them out on the table. Now is a chance to get those precious temps that can be gained with the tag temperatures getting in that window.
Well, let's see what OC Esports can do as they head through RSS corner. They've just started a flying lap. We're about to see if they can improve through Sector 1 and get any closer. Unfortunately for them, they've had to navigate a lot of traffic and it isn't looking incredibly fast at the moment. No improvement through Sector 1. They're just 300ths off pole though. Someone having an instant up ahead, and that tap of the brakes is probably going to be it for the lap there. I don't think they're going to be able to find any more time. We'll see through Sector 2 how it goes as they ride a little bit of curb, but it might be next lap OC Esports have to think about maybe pushing themselves more towards the front.
Now that we're getting to the end with just 4 minutes to go, if you have to start your laps, you only have 2 laps to go to put a lap in. Obviously half an hour qualifying session, not looking that long. If you know that if you practice every day with that pre-qualifying session, or you believe that, oh, well, over the first 10 minutes I have issues. I know that my as a driver, my window where I start to get that pace is 50 minutes in. Some drivers start early with just 50 minutes of driving the car that you get to that perfection window, but some drivers take a bit longer, and with half an hour, really, you gotta have to check that you can get that lap time together as soon as possible, as with all 20 cars wanting to get a lap together. You want to have all the clean airs. We look at the minimap, we see some clean airspace, but not everyone having a chance. Following, see the Racing Sun racing team being a bit held up, up in P14, up on that Delta in Sector 1.
Yeah, the number 8 car here looking to improve from their current 14th position. They'll, of course, be through qualifying with our current 104% rule, although they're going to want to make sure of that by setting a little bit of a faster time and maybe out-qualifying some of their rivals for the race tomorrow. Keeping an eye on the top 10 as well, as the 75 car was going faster through Sector 1, but looks to have pulled into the pits and needs to get out quickly if they want to set another lap. Let's see through this chicane how the Rising Sun team do. They've currently improved through Sector 1, weren't able to through Sector 2, but we know there's time to be found in this final sector as they round the 90-degree left-hander and come across the line. Will they be able to improve? They have, but it's not good enough for another position. At least their time has gone up. Another team we're going to have a check on board with is the 669 car, because they have absolutely flown through Sector 1 and done a personal best, and they're 4/10 up on their delta if our timing screens are correct, which would put them in contention for pole position. So now they've got the easiest part of the track to go. It wasn't an improvement through Sector 2, but they've managed to keep the speed through there, and it's looking good for Lopen Esports. Will they be able to put themselves on pole today? Well, let's see. Through this final chicane before we head to the 90-degree left-hander, if they can just keep it clean through here, if they can just keep the speed that they've got, they will be able to get themselves towards the front of the grid. They're about to cross the line. What will it be? It's a 2:08. It pushes them to third, but not enough for pole position. They lost a couple tenths in those last few corners there. Very close from Lopen Esports.
Yeah, it looks like they lost 3 tenths in that final sector. As you said, that final chicane where you're just gonna want to keep as much speed as possible, not touching the curb but getting as close. It looks like that's where they lost a lot of time. But obviously, with the session now getting to an end, no more laps being able to be put together now. You gotta have to put this last laps, 2 laps together now. And Sector 1 there was up there for the pole contention for Lopen. Sector 2 was up on the same pace they were, but in Sector 3 just, I believe the pressure just getting to them when going through the chicane. Missing just a little bit of grip that they needed and sliding and losing that 3 tenths.
It's a real shame, but the pressure sometimes can get to these drivers. However, one team not feeling the pressure, and they'll want to not feel the pressure, is the OC Esports team. These guys are right now absolutely flying in their hunt for pole position. This will probably be one of their last laps as they've gone fastest through Sector 1. Although looking at the time, this looks like an out lap, so it looks like they're actually pushing to get to the line in time to start another lap. That could be wrong, however, so we're going to stay on board with them just in case, because the timing sheets currently suggest to me they're only on a 1:24, which is in contention for pole. They're currently up a 10th on their delta. Ignore our timing that we've got here, because the one I'm looking at says otherwise. Let's see what they can do down the Conrad Straight. This was where the Lopen team made that mistake and lost some time. We'll see if OC Esports can keep their confidence through here. It's looking reasonably fast. No, they've gone wide. And that'll be it. That'll be qualifying over for OC Esports. As they head back to the pits, they won't have time for another outlap, and it's looking like potentially Apex 1 could be taking the checkered flag in pole position for the race.
What a great qualifying session today we've seen, with a lot of cars taking all the track that they can and all what the cars can bring. As you saw that the Apex 1, the OC Esports taking that inside curb, the notorious inside curb on turn 21. I just saw the inside tire clipping that curb, which made them already jump up too much and not get that grip that they wanted for turn 22, where they already went with the right hand side tires on that patch of grass, and that understeered them into the wall. Something we don't want to see tomorrow in the race, as lucky the pits are right at the end of that small straight after turn 22. But
I'm going to just interrupt you because, Captain, we're on board with one of our final flying laps of the number 7 car, and they've gone purple through Sector 2. They've gone green through Sector 1. Could this be a surprise pole position for the number 7 Apex 1 car, the yellow Lamborghini? It's heading through these final corners. It's looking hooked up. They haven't made the same mistake that OC Esports made that you were just talking about, giving some great insight on. Through the 90-degree left-hander, it's going to be across the line. Will it be a pole position time? Oh, they've just missed out. 2:07. It does push them ahead of Lopen, though, but missed out in the final sector there, as they were potentially on for pole. And it looks like Apex 1 will be taking it today as the rest of the cars head back to the pits.
I believe what happened there to the Apex 1 Keisha Esports car was they just didn't have that straight lane speed that they wanted, losing out 2 attempts on that straight, which I said is something really important to have with that long straight. They gained 10 through that chicane, but then obviously with the 2 attempts that they lost, they went for the 34.8 final sector, which is below average for our top 4. The final sector being a 34.6 second sector time. Obviously, that's where the 2 tenths have been lost. They were half a tenth up on their lap time after sector 2 with the purple sector 2, getting those S's nailed on perfectly. Just the car responding to every move they said, but sadly not being able to put that together at the final sector.
Yeah, definitely correct there. Last position update was the number 8 car moved themselves into 12th, I believe, or they did move themselves up a position on the grid across the line, the Rising Sun team. So a good final lap from them, being able to put something together and yet again improved. However, that is qualifying for the OC Sim Series. 12 hours of Bathurst over for today. Official results will be posted in the Discord. However, as of right now, Apex 1 did take pole position, the number 61 car, followed by the OC Esports team, who will be looking for another great finish and maybe hunting for the win. That's avoided them over the past couple OC racing events. So if they can get that today, they're going to be mighty impressed. Or get that tomorrow, sorry. They're going to be mighty impressed. Just an update on times for you tomorrow. We've got the race starting, I believe, at 9 p.m. GMT, which I believe will be 9 a.m. GMT, which will be 10 a.m. CEST, and finishing after 12 hours, so 10 p.m. CST. We'll take you through some of the grid now. So, on pole position, the number 61 car of Apex 1 with a great lap time of a 2:05. On second place was OC Esports. They did an absolutely mega job to get second place. Less than a tenth separating those two. Then, in third place, we had the number 7 Keisha Esports Racing Team, I believe, followed by the 669 Lopen Esports car. Then, following them, I believe it was the 43 car, the Apex 1 Racing Potatoes, followed by the 51 Apex 1 Drifting Team. You may be noticing Apex 1 have a lot of entries in here today. And we're going to have an interview with our pole sitters as well. Then the 75 car, the Auto Club. Then the 45 car, the 12 Lifeless Racing, the number 21 Over the Limit car, the 125 Lopen Esports Junior Team, the number 8 Rising Sun Racing, managing to push themselves a position higher, 71 Arachnid Racing, 232 Team Cool, number 9 LYS Performance, 77 H71 Esports, 18 Hexa AF, and some more, and that's our grid for tomorrow. Actually, I don't believe anyone knocked out, and I believe we're ready for some interviews too.
As you're right, with no one getting knocked out, as the knockout time was a 2:05.4, so everyone got into that lap time. But I'm now looking at that qualification. Look at the top speeds. They range from Apex 1, who got that pole position, from 287, 287 kilometers an hour, and the slowest one, I say slowest, it's still very fast, 278 kilometers an hour. That's a nearly 10 km gap, as that's what the setups do in this case. With interviews, I'm not sure, I haven't gotten any notifications.
We are getting interviews. We're getting an interview with the pole sitter, the number 61 car, and here he is now, the Apex 1 representative. How are you doing, and what was it like to set that pole lap today?
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, that was a good lap for me, but I could go faster. So I think that tomorrow we will show the better pace, and we will be on P1 on the finish line.
Okay, confidence. I like to hear it. Thinking there's more pace in the bag, as pretty much every single racing driver always does. What do you think went well about the lap today then? Did you encounter much traffic, or were you able to get into clean air and just hook up a nice clean lap and get yourself across into pole?
I didn't have any problems with the others, so So yeah, the track is very good for racing. I like very Bathurst, so it was very fun to drive today. And the opponents and the OC Racing is really close to us. So tomorrow will be, I think, a huge race.
Yeah, we can see the top 4 within less than half a second of each other. Who do you think, obviously you mentioned OC Esports are close, do you think any of the other guys are going to be close competition for you? How about the number 7 car who went purple in Sector 2?
I think that our team, Apex One, has a big chance to bring the very good result tomorrow. So I think that somebody from the other teams of the team Apex One will be on the podium.
It's good to hear. Captain, any questions from you?
I have one thing to ask. I saw on your fastest lap, one lap that you've done, you said you can go faster. I believe I saw you were half a second up on that delta before something happened. Was that correct, or was that just a timing cheat showing us a bit of an imperfection?
I think that there was a mistake in the S3. So there probably I lost about 1 or 2 tenths. So yeah, I could go faster anyway.
It's good to hear such confidence. Good luck for the race tomorrow. Obviously, you're in the best spot on the grid, so it should be a good start from you guys, but I'm sure the OC Esports team are going to provide you with some battling. Speaking of the OC Esports team, we're getting one of those members in now, so unless you've got anything left to say, good luck for tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So we'll get in a member of OC Esports who just missed out on pole position and see what they're thinking after that intense qualifying session. Hello, Pixel. How are you doing? You're representing OC Esports. Obviously just missed out on pole by less than a tenth. How do you think qualifying went today?
It went all right. I mean, the pace was there. The car was feeling great. It was interesting to adjust to the different track conditions, I guess you could say. Like it felt a bit more slidey. Like there's a tiny bit of grease on the track, you could say. But overall, it was quite okay from how we performed. But I could have gone quicker.
That's interesting. We heard that from both you and the Apex One team, so definitely both of you guys thinking there's more pace in the car. Do you think you've got the pace to overtake them on track tomorrow?
I mean, it depends on how fast both of our pace is. If 2 people are absolutely driving on the limit, and I mean, look at the corners on this track. It is so tight to actually get an overtaking spot anywhere. The only place where you can overtake is in the straight line braking zones, or just squeeze it somehow into the first hairpin on the track, the uphill left. If you somehow get in there, maybe you can make it, but it's going to be quite tricky.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely Bathurst, not one of the easiest tracks to overtake on, but you guys did a good job there. Speaking of overtaking and how difficult it can be, how was the traffic in qualifying? And, obviously that's going to be a bit of representation of what the race will be like tomorrow too.
The traffic was all right. I just tried to stay away from all the slower drivers, just so I could have clear road to actually push and have maybe 2 or 3 laps where I had pretty much clear road. There was the occasional person coming out of the pits, but it wasn't too big of a deal. They always slowed down, stayed on the right, and let you by before they continued.
Well, that's good to hear. Drivers being respectful. Captain, anything you want to add there?
That was everything I wanted to know as well.
Very good. Well, we've got, of course, you've got some threats from behind you tomorrow too, with the number 7 car qualifying just 2 tenths off your pace, and we're about to speak with him now too. So Pixel, thank you for joining us, and good luck for your race tomorrow. Maybe OC Esports can finally bring home a win at their home event.
Thank you very much, and we'll try our best.
Very good luck. I will just let the number 7 team know we're ready for the next interview of P3, which was the number 7 car, which, again, we'll see how their reaction was and if they think they've got any more pace left in them.
Good luck, Pitster, for tomorrow.
Thank you. Alright. I'll be seeing you.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Great insight from our drivers there. It's been really exciting to hear from them. I always love hearing from the drivers and teams, and I believe mid-race tomorrow we'll get some more interviews too. But here we are, our representative from the number 7 team who took P3, just 2/10 off pole. How did it go out there?
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, 2/10 actually. It's a lot if you ask me as a sim racing driver, but well, it's P3 and I think it's a good starting position for tomorrow.
Certainly is. You're ahead of the majority of the grid. Do you think you had more time in that lap, or was that the absolute limit? We saw you go purple through Sector 2, just lost a little bit in Sector 3. How much more do you think was in that?
I mean, Sector 3 is always the biggest nightmare, so yeah, it's kind of problematic for every time I'm going there. Maybe 1/10 actually. I wouldn't aim for pole position. I'm slow actually for this weekend. I'm not as fast as, for example, car number 61 or OC Racing 57, yeah?
Yeah, you got those right. That was good. I'm impressed you remembered the numbers. But yeah, no, of course, not feeling maybe the pace is there, but we know Bathurst is one of those tracks where hooking it up and, of course, staying consistent can give you the win. So do you think a win is off the cards tomorrow?
Definitely. We are not fighting for the win. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. We are actually trying to have fun tomorrow. We didn't trying, I don't know, something about strategies, and we didn't actually spend time training too much. We are only for fun, and actually we are hoping for the best, maybe top 5, I guess, but not for the win, I'm sure.
Top 5 or even a podium is probably not out of the question. It looks like you had some good pace out there, even if you are just taking it for fun. Captain, anything you want to add?
I do want to add one thing. What's the car? You said you weren't this track isn't really how as prepared as you are. What's the car though in that window that you wanted, or was there still improvements with the car that you wanted to have that you couldn't get in time?
I mean, I'm kind of problematic driver because I don't like understeerage cars. So, well, my setup is very, very very different from others. So, I don't think I can actually find something more from the setup or from the car. I think my driving style is far away from driving standards, driving meta in Assetto Corsa. So, well, I wouldn't find anything more, in my opinion.
One more thing, do you feel confident enough that tomorrow's race will be as incident-free as possible? As you just said, you drive more of an oversteering car. You feel your team can manage to drive 12 hours with such a setup car?
Well, we took number 7 because of that, because we actually are trying to test our luck. And we think that there will be a lot of incidents tomorrow because Bathurst is a very difficult track, actually one of the most difficult in my opinion. So yeah, about my oversteerage setup, I kinda get used to that. So my hope is that I won't lose my rear and everything will be fine.
I hope everything will go well for you tomorrow. I've not got anything else unless you do, Captain.
I don't. That's all. Thank you.
All right. Well, really good luck to your team tomorrow. Starting in P3, obviously a great position to start in. And I hope things do go well for you, and you even maybe get a chance to fight for that win.
Thank you very much, and now won do spania wszyscy.
Hope that's not swearing.
Go to sleep, everyone.
Well, yeah,
true.
it is pretty late on this Friday evening.
You do make a
obviously
good
taking
point,
next
because
time.
just go. Do you want to take us through the timings again, Captain, before we finish off the stream? Pukar, thank you so much for joining us in the VC, and again, good luck for tomorrow.
I
Thank
can
you.
go through the timings. So today's qualifying was starting at 9:30 GMT, the British time zone, for the ones not knowing, and 20:30 CEST, the European Amsterdam time zone. And tomorrow the race will start at 10 a.m. in the morning for the European time zone, for the Amsterdam time zone, and at 9 a.m. for the British time zone, which is the normal time zone, and Amsterdam being +1. So if 9 a.m., if your country has any different time zone plus any number, you just have to add that to that 9 a.m. But the original racing time tomorrow for Europeans will be 10 a.m.
And I would just like to thank for watching today, you the viewer who came and watched this qualifying session. It was great fun to commentate over. Thank you, Captain, for joining me in the commentary booth. Thank you to our sponsors, SimSpots, RSS, who are providing the cars as well, and also Six Sigma Sim Racing. Appreciate all of those, and of course OC Racing himself for allowing us to run yet again another OC Sim series, and of course a huge thank you to Vigo, who'll get another one of those tomorrow, hoping the race goes smoothly and qualifying going relatively smoothly today, although Discord, I believe, was having a few issues, so apologies if you overheard those, and a couple issues with assets too, but nothing that should have distracted too much from the great action we had on track. That's all from me, and Captain, we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning for, like he said, the 10 a.m. start for the 12 hours of Bathurst. We'll see you later. Goodbye.